Hello. My Clash Royale addiction has only got stronger since the last video, so I thought, here we go again. This time, champions. This is going to be a shorter video, there's much less champions, and to be honest, they're all fairly balanced, I would say. I would give Supercell some props for this, at least compared to the Evos, because they are broken. Anyway, let's get started on this. I might go a bit more into depth on these ones just because there's so few compared to the Evos, but we'll see. First one, Skeleton King, the seasonal champion, gets leveled up to your King Tower level. That's always handy. I'll put him A. Got buffed recently, more health, makes him a better mini tank. The ability's good, especially if you combine it with a bait deck. He's just like sort of a better knight, especially because it allows the 3 card cycle. Obviously, all the champions allow the 3 card cycle, and I'm comparing the champions to the champions. But this one is especially good because it's normally in the faster cycle decks, like the log bait, like the skeleton barrel bait, like those ones. Anyway, S, the buff really helped it, and I think having a skeleton army summoned for 2 elixir is pretty busted, to be honest, especially when going up against things like P.E.K.K.A, which would normally counter it. So, solid A, scraping to S, but I don't think it's quite there yet. Next, Monk. It's not a bad card. Ability's pretty handy. You can get some excellent value, excellent like good montage plays if you time it well. Bounce back a fireball or a rocket or something like that. But he's quite expensive, 5 elixir, a little bit clunky maybe sometimes. His little shove push attack that he does can come in handy. But and he's a good tank, but compared to the Skeleton King, his doesn't provide that extra hit like oomph. He's used in some Royal Giant decks, some other ones, fringe decks, but mostly more of a niche card than the Skeleton King. But he's not bad, and obviously gets the 3 card cycle as well. But that's less of a bonus in something like RG, because obviously the cycle's a bit slower. So B, not as good as Skeleton King, but not bad. To be honest, none of the champions are particularly bad. Um, so I could probably take out the D tier, to be honest. Keep it in, S to C. They're all fairly balanced, all pretty decent. Next, Mighty Miner, top of A. I think he's knocking on the door for S. Again, really good. Mohamed Light plays this guy in his decks all the time. And obviously, it's hard to tell when Mohamed Light is playing if it's him or the deck, but the card is really strong. The bomb's a good ability, only 1 elixir. He's a good tank killer, 4 elixir, very tanky. Sort of like the Skeleton King, but obviously more single focus damage, while the Skeleton King focuses on more swarm damage and area of effects. Anyway, good. He's definitely a bit better than Skeleton Thing. I think his lane switching part of his ability is definitely a really strong point, especially in the lower arenas where people are less familiar. They build up a big defense, press the ability, blow it all up with the bomb, and suddenly you're on the other side of the map doing damage, destroying the tower as the drill gets ramped up. So definitely maybe slightly skewed to the lower arenas, but a solid card, especially in the higher arenas. Golden Knight. Apart from having the best intro sound in the game, well, he's decent. Again, all these cards, none of them are bad, to be honest. They've all got their place in certain decks. When you get the Golden Knight's charge off and he hits through 15 troops and goes to the tower, suddenly he feels like the strongest card in the game. But if you can't get that value, if you're playing a player who knows how to position their troops a bit better, knows how to shut down the Golden Knight, he is more easily respondable to than the Mighty Miner and the Skeleton King. So I find it he is either bottom of A or top of B. I think he's slightly better than the Monk. 4 elixir, cheaper always helps, makes him be able to fit into more decks, makes him more flexible, makes him easier to cycle, makes him easier to, get easier value out of than the Knight. The Monk, sorry. But yeah, good cards, solid ability. I'd say, yeah, a strong B. Higher than the Monk anyway. Next, Little Prince, probably the worst of the champions by a significant amount, to be honest. He used to be really strong, but then obviously way too strong, got nerfed. Now, having a 3 elixir ability, definitely more difficult to use correctly than the other ones, especially the 1 elixir ones. I'm thinking of the Mighty Miner, that one's definitely, well, we haven't got to it yet, but definitely the best ability out of the champions that have been ranked so far. And then when you consider the Guardian, 3 elixir, much more difficult, has so much less health than it used to because of all the nerfs. Little Prince, his bow ramps up slower. He has less health dice to it, I think. Zap lug, no, maybe Fireball. Now, even when he on release he was buttered. To be fair, he didn't die to Fireball. But even still, the actual card is 3 elixir, but realistically, if you want some DPS, you just get a Dark Goblin without the ability, because I think it's really the ability that lets this champion down. To be honest, 3 elixirs too much, and the Guardian is too weak. But the actual card is perfectly fine apart from that. Definitely the worst champion though. Now, from the worst to the best, Archer Queen is by far the best champion in the game, in my opinion. The ability, ignored by all troops, the invisibility, 1 elixir, extra damage. I think that is completely broken, to be honest. I think that she could go invisible and not get the faster firing rate, and it would still be a perfectly good ability. But the increased DPS on top of the invisibility, it gets easy value all the time, unless you're playing it like a complete idiot. I mean, it's insane. You use it when the queen crosses the bridge, and they either have to put a card down and just take, like, how much is it, 900,000 damage, while the queen's just firing away invisible, or you just take a huge tower damage. It's guaranteed value, very low skill, and yeah, she fits into lots of decks. Obviously, the Royal Hogs one's the most well known one. Really good value there. Great damage, great ability, and in my opinion, the best champion. Well, this was a short one. I just wanted to, add it to the evolutions tier list that I've already made. Check that video out if you haven't already, and just give like a more full, bigger picture of the champion landscape in Clash Royale. I might make a video on the legendary cards as well, depending on if I can be bothered or if I fancy it. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.